Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. M.K. Dev from the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, Assam Downtown University. Today, I shall discuss occupational pattern and rural society. So, before entering into the occupational pattern in the rural India, let us talk about classism and casteism that is prevailing in the rural India. Caste people usually marry within the caste or subcaste. Members of a caste trace their origin from a common ancestor, either historical, mythical, or divine. The properties of that ancestor are worthy of being remembered by people, and these are well known to such an extent that mere mention of that name is enough to recognize the group to which a person belongs. Among various views on caste in India, according to the context discussed here, we mention 6 characteristics of caste that has been offered by G.S. Ghuriye in his thesis to Cambridge University on race and caste in India, which has been revised and published several times in the year of 1961. Ghuriye suggested that caste names could indicate 6 different possibilities. Number 1, subcaste. Subcaste is considered a smaller unit within a caste. In the village setting, usually we find that there is only one subcaste living there. A larger number of subcastes indicate the late arrivals to a village. Thus, for all practical purposes, a subcaste represents the caste in the village. In the wider setting of a region, however, we find many subcastes. One example from Maharashtra is of Kumbhar, that is potters. There are several groups among them. Those who tap the clay, those who use the large wheel, those who use the small wheel. All the 3 are endogamous groups. Should they be called castes or subcastes? Ghuriye favors the second use. Karve, the first one, both agree that the groups are endogamous. The difference of opinion is about origin. If one group broke into 3 parts, that is subcaste would be a proper usage. And Ghuriye thought that was the way things happened. If the 3 groups had independent origin, then they could be called castes. And that is how Karve thought things had occurred. She points out that even linguistic differences exist among the groups, and to the extent physical characteristics could help, they show a variation. In conclusion, it can be said that subcaste is the smallest endogamous group, and it has some mechanism like panchayats to regulate the behavior of members. In traditional setting, in a village, the difference between caste and subcaste does not come to the surface but in a region. The difference is visible. The students are advised to study their units on caste and supplement their readings from the YouTube link that has been provided as an external link in the ERP. The picture of caste and subcaste relates to the traditional setting. Now forces to change have begun to effect that picture at several points. Some of these points may now be looked in the next subsection. Now changes in caste system. Studies by historians and sociologists, namely Romila Thapar, Barton Stein, Ramkrishna Mukherjee, A.R. Desai, and M.N. Srinivas have shown that the Indian society was never static. The main traditional avenues of social mobility were Sanskritization, migration, and religious conversion. Lower castes or tribes could move upward in the caste hierarchy through the acquisition of wealth and political power. They could consequently claim higher caste status along with Sanskritizing their way of life, emulating the lifestyle and customs of higher castes. Some important changes have taken place in the caste system in the rural areas in the contemporary period due to the new forces of industrialization, urbanization, politicization, modern education, legal system, land reforms, development programs, and government policy of positive discrimination in the favor of lower castes. Here is the occupational nexus with caste. Occupational association of caste has marginally changed in the rural areas. Brahmins may still work as priests. In addition, they have taken to agriculture. Land-owning dominant castes belonging to both upper and middle rung of caste hierarchy generally work as supervisory farmers. Other non-landholding lower castes, including small and marginal peasants, work as wage laborers in agriculture. Artisan castes, namely carpenters and ironsmiths, continue with their traditional occupations. However, migration to urban areas has enabled individuals from all castes, including untouchables, to enter into non-traditional occupations in industry, trade and commerce and services. Further, intercaste marriage is almost non-existent in rural areas. Intercaste restrictions on food, drink, and smoking continue, but to a lesser degree because of the presence of tea stalls in the villages, which are patronized by nearly all castes. The hold of untouchability has lessened. Distinction in dress has become more a matter of income than caste affiliation. In the traditional India, the upper castes were also upper classes, but it is not absolutely true today because now new occupational opportunities to gain income have developed in villages. People migrate to cities and bring money back to their villages. There has changed the traditional social structure. Caste has acquired an additional role of operating as interest groups and associations in politics with the introduction of representative parliamentary politics. This has been noted by Mr. M.N. Srinivas in the year of 1982, Rudloff in the year of 1967, Paul Brass in the year of 1965. So various caste associations have been formed transcending sub-caste boundaries to articulate caste interests. Moreover, caste has also witnessed growth of intercaste factions with differential support to political parties and personal interest of factional leaders. Thus, caste has undergone both the process of fusion, merging of different castes, and fission, breaking up of a caste into parts. I repeat, caste has undergone both the process of fusion and fission. Fusion means merging of different castes, and fission means breaking up of a caste into parts in the arena of politics. Indian politics. There is a change in the rural power structure in the period since independence, which has led to some changes in intercaste relationships. The Brahmins have lost their traditional dominance in South India, Kamma and Rendi in Andhra, Lingayat and Okkiliga in Karnataka, and Ahir, Jat, Kurmi in North India have emerged as the new dominant castes at local and regional levels through acquisition of economic and political power. Some traditional backward castes, that is Nadar, Vaniyar of Tamil Nadu, Mahar of Maharashtra, Reddy of Andhra Pradesh, has also improved their social status. In a study, it has been found that Sripuram village in Tanjore district, the study was undertaken by Andre Bettelli in the year of 1971, was noticed the phenomenon of status incorrigibles. Traditionally, the upper castes owned land and monopolized political power in the village, but now, due to various institutional changes, they have also lost their control over the political affairs to intermediate castes without losing their land to any substantial extent. Thus, we find that caste has undergone adaptive changes. Its traditional basic features, that is connubial, commensal and ritual, still prevail in rural areas. The core characteristics of the castes which have affected the social relations and still operative. However, the status quo of the intermediate and low castes has changed due to their acquiring political or economic power. Now, high caste, high class and more power went together in the traditional village setting. This hegemony of the high castes has given way to differentiation of these statuses in some region in India, so that now high caste does not necessarily occupy a higher class position of power. So it was the present dynamics of occupational pattern and rural society of India. Thank you, everyone.